Hey everyone, and welcome to a new video. Thank you for clicking to watch this. I'm sure that it's going to be probably a very triggering subject to a lot of people who don't usually believe that veganism is political. But before you go ahead and leave a comment in the comment section below, please, I'm going to ask you to watch all of it, just like one of the newest videos that I made where I was talking about the animal rights movement and what is going on right now in the world. If you want to watch that video, click on this card and you can see it. If you're new to this channel, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you can stay up to date with all the videos I'm putting out, and it also helps my channel in return. Now, when it comes to the sentence veganism is political, a lot of people argue about this. A lot of people say we should keep politics out of veganism, but the case I'm going to be making today is not something that is a matter of opinion, but rather facts. For those of you who know me well or have been watching my videos for a while now, you know that I don't usually say these things unless I have facts to back them up. Now, I've done my research. If you think anything I'm saying is wrong, please feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below. I am not in any way claiming I know everything and I know the truth and you should all listen to me. I'm just sharing what I have found as a result of my research. Now, I do want to make one thing clear, and that is that I'm not going to be really talking about whether or not veganism is something that capitalists should believe in, or socialists or communists, or only left-wing people or right-wing people. I'm just going to talk about how the meat industry has been using their power in politics to basically take away all the efforts that we as animal rights activists are putting in our activism. So I know it might be upsetting for a lot of you who are just going to find out all these reasons I'm going to be sharing today, but keep in mind there's always a way to fight this big industry. Now, if we quickly look at the definition, a political movement is a collective attempt by a group of people to change government policy or society with mainly political goals. Political movements are usually in opposition to an element of the status quo. In this case, the status quo is the exploitation of animals, and the opposition is veganism. We could say that it is a political movement because it opposes the laws, the regulations, and the power that people are holding against animals, and so demanding the rights of these animals is by definition political. In that same way, it is also considered a social movement because we are kind of opposing the relationship that humans have with other animals regardless of the policies. The number one reasons we're going to be talking about is subsidy. Now, the definition of a subsidy is a sum of money granted by the government or a public body to assist an industry or business so that the price of a commodity or service may remain low or competitive. I'm sure you might be thinking, how do subsidies play a part in the meat industry or animal rights? Well, it's very simple. The meat industry has such a strong lobbying group that they've been using it to collect as much subsidies as possible from the government. This means that the government gives back billions of dollars every single year to the meat and dairy industry. All the effort that you and I have been putting as animal rights activists to change people's behaviors and hopefully cause economic damage to the industry by less people buying their product is just going to get covered by the government, meaning the industry does not make any loss whatsoever. Having lobbying groups pushing laws to help the industry like this is literally the most political thing you can do. This is why I say, whether you like it or not, this is a political issue. For example, when it comes to the States, there's a group called the Vegan Justice League who is working on this issue. And they have showed with all the research that they've done that in 2018 alone, the animal agriculture industry spent $18 million in lobbying, $22 million in campaign contribution, and how much did they get back as a result? $50 billion. What do I mean when I say they got back as a result? It means they pocketed $50 billion in subsidies and bailouts just in 2018. $50 billion.
$50 billion?
What is the only way to stop this from happening? You guessed it right. Get involved in politics. Now, how exactly is the corruption systemic when it comes to this? Well, let's look at the numbers. The meat and dairy industry has been set up so that it cannot fail. Colin Peterson, a chairman, House Committee on Agriculture, said, "Under what we have put you in the Farm Bill, you will not be able to lose money unless you really try." This is a result of the Farm Bill. And what is the Farm Bill? It's the primary agriculture and food policy tool of the federal government. They renew this farm bill every 5 years, and during this 5 years, groups like Vegan Justice League spent a lot of time and money when it comes to entering the political context to fight against the farm bill and try to make some changes so that it can help the animals. One of the campaigns that they're running is ran under the Agriculture Fairness Alliance organization that they have, and basically what they're trying to do is to make the government help farmers who want to switch from animal farming to plant farming. This way, they are entering the politics and using the same intention of wanting to help farmers in a way that it would help specifically farmers who want to switch to an ethical business. This is one of the reasons why the US had a 2.5 billion pound surplus of meat. That's right, 2.5 billion pound surplus of meat. And they do not lose much money because of this as a result of the Farm Bill. I could go on and talk for hours and show you all the research that Vegan Justice League has done on how this is affecting the animals and also our activism. But this video is not about that. I just wanted to share with you a few reasons why, whether we like it or not, as I said, veganism is political. The second reason is ag-gag laws. Ag-gag laws are anti-whistleblower laws that basically help the agriculture industry. What I mean by this is that with the power that they have when it comes to politics, the animal agriculture industry has helped create laws that literally punish whistleblowers. People who, for example, document animal abuse, whether that's in factory farms or in slaughterhouses, they could be considered as terrorists if they are caught.
Yes. Terrorists!
You guessed that right. A non-violent person who peacefully enters a property in order to document animal abuse taking place on that property, which by the way is against the law, is the same as someone who would, let's say, put a bomb in a mall and kill hundreds of innocent beings. And once again, as I said, ag-gag laws are put there with the power that they have in politics. So if you are going to fight this, we have to accept that veganism is political because the enemy that we're fighting is as political as it could get. The third reason why I believe this is a political issue are laws that prevent activism. For those of you who haven't heard about it, in Ontario, Canada, there's a new bill being prepared to be passed as law, and that is called the Bill 156, which basically is kind of similar to the ag-gag law that I mentioned, except it also could be used against activists who are gathering to raise awareness about animal exploitation, especially those who do vigils outside slaughterhouses. Now, of course, the politicians claim that this bill is being introduced as a food safety and animal welfare issue, but let's face it, this is only because they don't want anyone to raise awareness about animal exploitation, whether outside farms or slaughterhouses or inside farms and slaughterhouses. That's why they put both of them in the same category. In 2019, the Ontario government claimed that they also checked with animal rights groups when it comes to this issue, but weirdly, no animal rights group claimed that this was right. So basically, they just made up a law between each other and they're trying to introduce it as Bill 156. These types of laws don't have to stop here. They could be expanded in the future to include other types of activism, such as street outreach or any other peaceful and non-violent event where people are raising awareness about veganism. Which means, except if you only use social media to raise awareness about veganism, you must be worried about this and you must accept that this is a political issue. The fourth reason I'm going to be talking about is overturning existing laws that protect animals. Now, when I was doing my research, I found countless examples of politicians who overturned laws that were protecting the animals. One of these was the famous law that Trump actually overturned during his presidency, and that law was actually a ban on importing trophies of lions and elephants. In other words, it used to be against the law to import the body parts of some endangered animals, and a politician could just come into power and overturn that law, and all of a sudden it's possible again. Now, of course, this isn't only when it comes to endangered animals. There are also many laws that are put there to protect what they call farm animals, but then at a certain time another politician could come and just overturn that law. Number 5 are laws, animal abuse laws that could punish someone. Interestingly, Trump himself was expected to sign a bill that makes animal abuse a punishable crime, and I am only giving an example of the US here, but this happens all around the world. When animal rights activists start campaigning to put certain laws to consider animal abuse a crime, they are basically using politics to make sure that less animals are harmed. Now, of course, if you are vegan, you already agree that there's not much difference between abusing a dog or abusing a cow. At the end of the day, abuse or use or exploitation is never justified, and that's why it should be illegal. However, a lot of activists see this animal abuse law part as a way to enter this context in order to make it better in the future. The sixth reason we're going to be talking about is the impact that politics has on the food industry. Specifically, the names that we give to the food that we're eating. Now, for those of you who don't know, the European Union was fighting against calling vegan burgers burgers because apparently it confuses customers who believe burgers can only be made with meat. They claim that we should call them veggie discs. You heard that right. Now, there were a lot of political groups involved in this. Socialist member of the European Parliament, French Andrieu, claimed that this was only common sense and we should not be using those words for food that comes from plants. Basically, they're trying to create as many obstacles as they can when it comes to the food sector that is creating plant-based products. And again, this is literally happening in the political context. They don't ask this to people on the street, they sit down all together and they make these decisions. And last but not least, the seventh reason is a rare example, but still a very important one, is introducing laws that basically recognize the sentience of animals. For example, in Switzerland, the protection and dignity of every single animal is a part of the law. And this was not, of course, achieved by making YouTube videos such as this one. It was achieved by realizing that veganism is political, and to make these changes, we have to accept that and work in political context as well. Those are the 7 reasons why I believe veganism is political, whether you like it or not. Let me know what you think about it, or if you want to share other reasons. Now, I just want to make sure that you're aware that I'm not pointing fingers at people who are not active in political ways when it comes to veganism. In fact, I'm not myself. However, I do think it's important to accept this and talk about it, and also show support to people who are active in political contexts. Because no matter how much effort we all do, if activists who are working in political contexts, such as the Vegan Justice League, don't succeed in changing these laws, the animal agriculture industry is going to get away year after year with tens of billions of dollars in bailouts. Thanks so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like and subscribe, and leave a comment as well. If you'd like to support this channel or my activism, please check out my website. Thank you again for watching. I'll see you in the next video.